Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Green. We're doing another Bible study, Matthew chapter 22. If you'd like me to come speak at your church, or if you have any questions, you can email me or you can just comment below. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, click the notification bell, that way you get updated whenever I post a new video. Also, like the video and comment. It really helps with the algorithm. At the end of the last chapter, it says, "And when the chief priests, the Pharisees, have heard his parables, they perceived that he spoke of them. But when they sought to lay hands on him, they feared the multitude because they took him for a prophet." They were worried that if they went after Jesus, and the people was going to attack him. So they were worried if they did something to him, people would attack the Pharisees. So the Pharisees wanted to kick Jesus out, but feared the people. And it seems in this next chapter that Jesus is trying to get them to understand simple truths by using parables. The question is, comment below, have you ever kicked Jesus out of your life? Matthew 22 verse 1. "And Jesus answered and spoke unto them again by parables, and said, The kingdom of heaven is like to a certain king, which made a marriage for his son, and sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden for the wedding day, and they could not come. Again he sent forth other servants, saying, Tell them which are bidden, Behold, I have prepared my dinner, my oxen, my fatlings are killed, and all things are ready. Come unto the marriage." Now it was actually very customary that you would prepare a week plus in advance for weddings. So you'd have all these things together. You'd spend a whole lot of money for the special marriage feast, and you had to go out to the field and tell people, hey, this marriage is happening, come see the wedding. But they made light of it and went their ways, one to his farm, another to his merchandise, and the remnant took his servants and entered them spitefully and slew them. Luke 14, it talks about the same story. It says, "And he said to him, A certain man made a great supper, and bade many, and sent his servants at supper time to say to them that were bidden, Come, for all things are now ready. And they all with one consent began to make excuse. The first said to him, I have bought a piece of ground, and I must needs go and see it. I pray that thee have me excused. And another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, I need to prove them. I pray thee have me excused. And another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come." You see, all these people were looking for these different excuses not to come to the wedding. There's actually a song called I Cannot Come, and it's actually a great song that's about this chapter here. Matthew 22:7. "But when the king heard thereof, he was wroth, and he sent forth his armies and destroyed those murderers and burned up their city, and said to his servants, The wedding is ready, but where they were bidden is not worthy." See, again, he prepared this for at least a week, and all of a sudden now people say they can't come. Well, he spent all this money to have this, you need to RSVP so you know how many people are coming. Now the supper's ready, it's time to go, and nobody wants to come to his party. "Go therefore to the highways, and as many as thou can find, buy them to the marriage. For those servants went out to the highways and gathered together all as many as they could, both bad and good, and the wedding was furnished with guests." So he pretty much said, I've got all this food and nobody to come to my wedding, so go out and find anybody you can and invite them over to the wedding. Guys, does this story help you see that God wants everybody to come to heaven? How would you describe colors to a blind person? See, I can't explain heaven to you because I've never been there. Just like, how do you explain a color to somebody who's blind? "And when the king came to see the guests, he saw a man which had not on a wedding garment. And he said unto him, Friend, how comest thou in hither, not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless." You see, when you go to a wedding, you have to dress a certain way. If you're not dressed a certain way, you can't come to the wedding. Isaiah 61 says, "I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. My soul shall be joyful in my God. For he has clothed me with the garments of salvation. He has covered me with a robe of righteousness. As a bridegroom decketh himself with ornaments, and as a bride adorneth herself with jewels." So there's a wedding happening, and God's going to give you the clothing to wear. And if you don't have the right kind of clothing, you can't come to the party. Romans 10 says, "For they are being ignorant of God's righteousness, and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves to the righteousness of God, For Christ is the end of the law for the righteousness of everyone that believeth. Matthew 22, verse 13. Then said the king to the servants, Bind him hand and foot, and take him away, and cast him into the outer darkness, where there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen. You see, if you're not prepared, if you're not saved, if you don't have on the wedding garment, you can't enter into heaven. You see, some people think they're going to the wedding, but unless the king has provided you a robe for them, they can't come. You Pharisees have made your own robe of righteousness, just like Adam and Eve did, but it won't get you into the wedding. Matthew 22:15. Then went the Pharisees and took counsel on how they might entangle him in his talk. And so they sent out his disciples with Herodians, saying, Master, we know that thou art true, and teachest the way of God in truth. Neither carest thou for any man, nor the righteous, nor regardest the persons of men. Tell us therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute to Caesar or not? But Jesus perceived their wickedness, and said, Why tempted me, you hypocrites? Show me the tribute money, and I brought him a penny. See, they're saying, Shall we pay taxes to Caesar? Nobody likes Caesar, so they're trying to catch him in a trick. And so Jesus says, Go bring me some money, I want to teach you something. Subscription. And it said unto him, Caesar's. Then saith he unto them, Render therefore unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's. You see, if you look at the coins, it's going to have Caesar's head on it. All the coins has a picture of Caesar on it. So he's saying, if you owe a tax, pay it. If not, don't pay it. Guys, why can't you see there's a heavenly kingdom where God rules, and an earthly kingdom where men rule? If something belongs to God, give it to God, and if something belongs to men, give it to men. Matthew 22:22. When they have heard these words, they were marveled, and left him and went their way. And the same day with him the Sadducees would say there was no resurrection, and asked him, saying, Master, Moses said if a man die, he has no children. His brother shall marry his wife, and raise up seed to his brother. Now there were 7 brethren, and the first, when he had married a wife, deceased, and having no issue, left his wife to another brother. Likewise the second also, and the third, up to the 7th. And last the woman died also. Therefore the resurrection, whose wife shall she be at the 7th? For they all had her. And Jesus answered and said unto them, You do err, not knowing the Scriptures, nor the power of God. For in the resurrection they neither marry, nor are given in marriage, but they are as the angels of God in heaven. But as touching the resurrection of the dead, have you not read, which was spoken to you by God, saying, I am the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. When the multitude heard this, they were astonished at this doctrine. When the Pharisees had heard that he put the Sadducees to silence, they were gathered together. Then one of them, which was a lawyer, asked him a question, tempting him, and saying, Master, which is the greatest commandment in the law? And Jesus said unto them, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. And this is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is unto it, They shall love their neighbor as themselves. Of these 2 commandments hang all the laws of the prophets. While the Pharisees were gathered together, Jesus asked them, saying, Which you think of Christ? Whose son is he? And they said unto him, The son of David. And he said unto them, How then does David the Spirit call him Lord, saying, The Lord has said to my Lord, Sit on the right hand, and I will make the enemies thy footstool. If David then called him Lord, how was he his son? And no man was able to answer him the word, neither durst any man from that day forth asking him any more questions. Well guys, that's the video. I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions, you can always comment below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, click the bell, that way you get updated whenever I post a new video. Like the video and also comment. I'm going to put a couple links on the screen. The bottom right is going to be the Matthew Bible study. The top left is going to be the Luke Bible study. And then the bottom left is going to be a video YouTube thinks you're going to like. If you know somebody might benefit from this, you can share it with them. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.